Hey, good to see you. Thanks for coming. This is another episode of Wireframe, brought to you by Design Systems House. I'm your host, Donnie, and today we're going to be talking about reinventing wheels. So the idea here is that, well, before we actually get into it, because there's been some things that went on that I want to go ahead and update you with. The first thing is that thank you for the folks who gave me illustrators to look into. And I am happy to report that we found an illustrator. So this person is going to start work actually this week on making illustrations. And just for time check here, this is December 30th of 2025 right now. So we're right in the tail end of the holiday season. So I really appreciate this person's work so far. And I'll let people know who this person is once I receive all of the illustrations, because obviously, if you know, we've had a problem with the illustrations recently, so now the illustrations for the book are getting ramped up again. So looking forward to seeing some results out of that soon. I actually was just in the books recently that I wrote, and I saw some things that I need to update already. And I think that really helps, excuse me, when going to a book and doing it for so many months and actually years, and not seeing it for a little while and just finding some things after not seeing it for a while. So I think that's actually been really helpful. So that's one of the things that was updated. Additionally, other updates. This past weekend, I decided to get lots of things done. So I did a lot of things that I've been just kind of putting off around the house or being distracted by around the house. So I did a lot of, not to mention the snow that was here as well. So I'm really feeling great about the motivations that I had in the last couple of days in this year. For the new year, lots of different things that I have planned to do. Some of those things you might already know about. For example, Undefined, which is a new event that I'm going to be planning in New York, will be kicking off a little bit later in the year. Not too much later. We're talking maybe like Q2 next year. But effectively, we're looking at something like starting up the planning for it in January next year. So really excited to start that kind of stuff, as well as obviously finishing up the book, as other things that are going to be planning out here. Really looking forward to that as well, obviously, because I just want to put that to bed, most likely. And other things that I have swirling around in my mind. I can't wait to get those things started as well, because I need to keep myself busy. But let's talk about the topic for today, which was reinventing wheels. There was something that was posted on LinkedIn just yesterday that I looked at and I had a reaction to. I'm not going to say what kind of reaction yet, because I want to read what this post said. And I wanted to then ask Stella, who's our resident AI over here, basically their kind of interpretation or their direction of what this is before I get into mine. So I'm going to read this post verbatim from the from LinkedIn. Let's go ahead and show it up over here first for a second here. This post is from Michael Mikeson, I believe is his name. Let's go ahead and show this post here. I'm going to read it verbatim again. This is also trying to pay attention to the folks who are listening to this just in audio, so that they're not looking at a screen here. So basically what Michael's saying here, and I'm going to say it verbatim, just without a stop. He begins, "I've never understood the hype around design systems. Every company names theirs like its proprietary breakthrough. There are entire roles dedicated to design system designers, often with premium pay, as if they possess a secret craft the rest of the industry doesn't. But here's the uncomfortable truth. All design systems are the same. UI design is built from a finite set of primitives, tokens, and components. Every free or paid design system ships with the same building blocks, custom patterns. You assemble them from those same parts. Want an enterprise-grade system for free? Use Chakra, Radix, or Shad CN. Swap in your brand colors, fonts, and corner radius. In a day, you'll have something more complete and more battle-tested than most bespoke systems. Many even come with code. Give it to your devs, load it into Storybook, and your front-end foundation is done, cost $0. Some people insist the design system is more than a component library. Great, show me one. The supposed philosophies and principles rarely show up in real workflows. If they're not visible in components, they're just decoration. The common pushback, but we already have an existing design elements. Sure, but if you're building a system from those elements, you still have to rewire every Figma file to use the new shared library. Whether you adopt open source or build in-house, that migration cost is identical. Why reinvent what already exists? Corporate life is full of redundancies. Your employee handbook and mine, basically the same, just different numbers in a few places. That's why templates exist. So here's my question to the design system faithful. What is in your system that I can't get from an open source or $100 template? Genuinely curious, prove me wrong. And there's 71 comments on this post. So first off, I want to, of course, ask AI that we have here. I'm going to ask Stella about why a person should make a design system when, well, let's just ask the question. Why am I saying it first and then go ahead and ask Stella? Let's ask Stella right now this question. Oops, this is the wrong thing. Hold on a minute. I hit the wrong button. Hold on, everyone stop. Hit the wrong button. Okay, here we go. This is the right button. Hey, why should a person or a team create a design system when there are so many other design system resources out there that a person can use themselves? So why would they use one? Why would they make one? Sorry.
Creating a design system can have several advantages over using existing solutions. While there are many design system resources available, creating one can offer more control and customization options and allow for tailoring to specific needs and preferences. Additionally, building a custom design system can help save time and effort, as you wouldn't have to look for additional resources.
I don't know if I agree with that, because if the stuff is already built in somebody else's design system, then you're not wasting time. You're actually saving time because those resources already exist. So how could you be saving time by building it from scratch?
While it is true design systems can provide pre-built components, templates, and design guidelines, they might not meet your specific requirements or preferences. Custom building a design system with tailor-made components means you have complete control over its features, style, and functionality, aligning perfectly with your project's goals and needs. This customization eliminates the need for workarounds, ensuring optimal efficiency and alignment.
Okay, well, what if I don't need to have that customization? All these systems, they have buttons and form elements and all the basic building blocks to create a web page and fully on website. So if I'm not looking for a lot of customization here, is it really worth it for me to make my own system?
If you only require the fundamentals, like buttons and form elements, using an existing system might be more efficient, as it saves time and effort by providing ready-made solutions. However, building your own design system can offer long-term benefits. It enables you to tailor the system specifically to suit your project, ensuring consistency and adherence to standards and enhancing overall user experience.
Okay. So what we heard there was that people make custom stuff because they believe that the stuff that's out there isn't meeting their needs. But as Michael's saying here, if these systems that exist, a thing like a Chakra or Shadcyan or whatever, have the customizations to get the job done, yeah, the question is, why reinvent the wheel? The thing is that I actually agree with Michael. And this aligns with what Brad Frost has been saying is like the global design language, the global design system, right? It's the same idea of being like, why are we recreating the button over and over and over again? We know what a button is supposed to look like, how it's supposed to behave. There's certain affordances and signifiers that are aligned to this kind of stuff. So why do people decide that they need to create their own button somewhere? I see this in my own personal work. Companies that I work with have a design system that has the button, and then some feature team makes their own button because, for whatever reason, they believe that their button is better than the first button that was already there in the first place. And that's, we see this everywhere. I mean, the great button audit that we've always seen starts the culmination of design systems everywhere is showing that there's 20 different buttons in some places, right? And it just goes to show the amount of different opinions about what a button's supposed to be, mucking up what a button actually is, right? And I think there's something really interesting about this kind of thought here, which is again talking about why do we keep reinventing the wheel over and over again, right? Why don't you just take Shadcn or Chakra or whatever else is out there that's open source that you can go ahead and just provide a little bit of expression to make it look like your own? And I think designers are getting in the way a little bit here, right? Because they might look at some set of resources and go, oh, well, they don't have the right token naming that I expect, or they don't have the right, I don't know, floating labels, which would be awful as a decision for anyone to make, but that could happen, right? There's certain preconceived notions about design that are coming in with that ego, right? That's like, oh, I want it to be this and I want it to be that. That makes it potentially have another direction and have to create additional resources and additional things that are extra to what we already have today, right? When we have all this stuff that we already have today, all these things. I mean, I think of Mantine. Mantine is a design system component library, whatever you want to call it, that has some components in there. And the reason I bring up Mantine specifically is that the example that I usually give for a component that doesn't exist in the system is a timeline. Well, I found out, I think over the last year or so, that Mantine has a timeline component, or at least the pieces to make a timeline component. I think that was really interesting. So, like when I talk about, okay, if you're going to make a timeline component, what would you do? That's the direction I like to think about of like, okay, well, these systems, right? Like Radix doesn't have a timeline component, I can tell you that right now, right? It might have some of the pieces that could get you there, but I'm pretty confident that you can't use just Radix to make a timeline component, right? You need some additional stuff that isn't inside of Radix. I don't know about the other ones in particular. Maybe Chakra doesn't have anything either, but I know Mantine does. So there's an answer about why you need some custom stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need an entirely custom system, though, right? Because it's entirely possible for you to make something behave like these open source systems in your own system or contribute into them, right? I mean, the open source allows you to contribute back in there in places where there are gaps, right? And I mean, the Open UI project, which is a idea that's or a group of people that are trying to unify the way that we do UI specifically on the web, I believe. Um, those folks as well are trying to kind of gravitate to these kind of canonical components, right? What's the canonical button, the canonical menu, the canonical collapsible or disclosure elements? What do these things look like, behave, etc., so that this isn't just a matter of ego. This is a matter of when a user appears to, or I should say, lands on one of these components, will they immediately know what to do? Or are they going to be confused about what to do, right? And the more that we align to what these patterns are supposed to be, the easier it is for users to get used to these patterns. I mean, the hamburger menu is a great example of this, right? When we talked about the hamburger menu being like, is it something that we can identify or is it something that we don't know what it is, right? We would test it against users. Users would be like, the young ones would be like, yes, I know what that is. The older ones like, I don't know what the heck that is. I'm not pressing it, right? Because that's something I think we miss a lot of the times is that the older users, they're scared of pressing buttons. New users are not. The young folks, they are not afraid of pressing buttons. They'll press a button just because they know how to, go back. But some of the older folks, they are worried about pressing buttons because they don't know what's going to happen when they press that button. But over time, older users have recognized what a hamburger menu does and become more comfortable with it. I think I'm tangenting a little bit, but ultimately, I think the thing that we're really getting to here is I also agree that we've made too much stuff. Right. I think this has been a take that I've had for a while now is that there is just too much stuff out there. We always believe that, oh, it's not there, or I don't know what to do here, or it doesn't, handle my needs, et cetera, so I have to make something. Right. This goes back to the whole thing of me having no modals, right? I don't like modals. I think there are better patterns out there, but in large, designers believe that we need to have modals, so they've added modals because we've seen patterns like that, or we've accepted patterns like that. But I think this is, again, kind of amplifying this idea, right? That there are too many things out there, It makes it hard to choose, right? Hicks' law always comes up. So I agree with this take. I want to say one thing in here, though, because he says, but here's the uncomfortable truth: all design systems are the same. That's incorrect. The expectation really is that um, all design systems are not the same. It's why there are so many of them. I believe that there could have just been one system, and effectively there has been. HTML, if you think about the button element in HTML, it is technically the only button. Not really. I mean, there's technicalities there, right? Input type button, yes, I know. But we've been using the HTML button for a long time as the canonical button. So that could have been the one system, right? All design systems are not the same because users, people, I should say, specifically designers, believe that the things that are out there don't support them. And that's why they have made other decisions. And again, like I said all the time, I think there's ways in which we could use existing stuff to get what we need, get what users need. But they're not all the same, and I think it shows that they're not all the same because of this post. Michael wants a single design system. It sounds like, or the fundamentals, he's basically saying, are all the same. But as it is right now, they're clearly not the same, right? That's why we have so many different things, why we have so many different buttons. Yes, they have all the same stuff, but they are not fundamentally the same as much as they could be. But yeah, I'm genuinely curious as well. I do want to see the comments also on here. Let's see what the comments actually say. I'm going to go to the computer so you can see what I'm looking at. Let's see here. So exactly, I want to see the people who actually disagree. That's the things that I want. So this is about how they feel. Okay, this person talked about LLMs for some reason. This person's saying I'd reuse SADCN. Great. Oh, okay, I lost my. Okay, there we go. Design systems solve a people problem. Yes, right. Yeah. Design system people do is actually governance. That's mostly right. Yes. Okay. So this person's agreeing to a point. So let's see where's the point is. Okay, where this breaks down is scale and complexity, not visual uniqueness. See, exactly what I'm actually saying. You're making this too complex, though. You're thinking it's supposed to be complex, but it doesn't need to be complex. Yeah, client-facing versus admin, internal versus external tools, permissions, accessibility. All of this stuff is not something that's different. Like when you're talking about client-facing versus admin, they're still using buttons. They're not using a different button because it's a client-facing versus an admin. It's not the same buttons. Yeah, there's nothing in here that's making it different for me. Yeah. I think $100 template is fine. That's good. Yes, okay, there's an agree there. This is someone who's commenting on the last line for some reason. I don't understand. Okay, sure, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm not reading these comments. I'm just trying to like get something that's going to be good to talk about. This comment over here was saying ending with generally curious, prove me wrong. Does it actually invite open debate? Okay, I mean, it's honestly, it sounds like it does to me, but I guess I have the wrong framing there. This is a provocative take, but I think it conflates with UI kit, the artifacts of the design system to governance. Yeah, social contract between design and engineering, yes, but all that stuff could be the same. Yeah, design system is the rules, right? Sure, but the rules could be transferable. Okay, so apparently Dmitri was the manager of the design system team at Airbnb, Snap, and Altruist. Okay, here we go. So Dmitri, it seems like he's going to have some rebuttal here. So he says, for starters, public design systems are mediocre, generic, and complex and/or inflexible. Don't get me started, Talon. They're entirely disconnected from the brand and serve only as a quick way to get something going. Do you want a button with 2 rows of text or one that has active state but different style? Sorry, I'm going to code it from scratch. Pause right there for a second. Okay. Um, do you want a button with 2 rows of text? No, I don't want a button with 2 rows of text. Why would I want that? I don't think any button's supposed to do that. I don't know what he's asking there. Or one that has the same active state but a different style. With a customizable button, it doesn't matter, right? If with a proper token system, you could do whatever the heck you want in there. Admittedly, I don't think you need to have those considerations. So I'm not exactly sure where the points are here, but he's saying you have to code it from scratch. I'm going to keep going. Add to the fact that most designers and engineers need to launch product under pressure, not adhere to his design system. Aha! Okay, that's a process problem. It's not a design system problem. I've lost count a number of times. Off-brand color values were hard-coded. One-off components were created, and font size is not here to predefined set. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That. You're not talking about anything that's a problem with a design system. You're talking about a problem with the process of design organizations moving fast and breaking things, right? And it's also telling me a little bit about how green a person is. I mean, if you think the answer is, oh, I need to make something completely new, that's not the answer, generally speaking. Most often, and this is something my mentor in design taught me a long time ago, most often the simplest thing is the answer, not the new complex thing, right? So I don't agree with that either, is that, product under pressure, to not adhere to the design system, I don't think it's a good excuse. But again, that's also not necessarily talking about much about what is happening here, right? Because Michael originally said, the original author here was talking about how there's so many different systems. This is talking about how there is no system, right? Separate topic, in my opinion. Going on to say here, none of this is a big deal on a small team with a new product, but what happens when you have 4 years of questionable UI development, 30 designers and front engineers with various degrees of experience, hundreds of screens, and upgrading rebrand? That's where design system comes in. Happy to share, but I hit my limit. Okay. Yes, except no. So the situation for me here is that yes, the design system is supposed to help with that stuff, but you've already kind of explained that you have people that are not adherent to the design system. They're not because of the pressure, right? And you're going to have 30 plus designers and front engineers, various degrees of experience, hundreds of screens. How are you supposed to, if you have product under pressure, align to a design system, right? So I'm missing his point or his rebuttal in here about the value of a design system being custom, right? That's what the original post is about, is about a design system being custom. Because the reality of it is, if there was one design system, a global design language that everyone knew, that would mean that with the 30 plus people that are there, they'd all know what to do because there's only one. But because there's so many of them, now it's much harder for them to know which one or which way to use something, right? I mean, I'm going to say this, a little bit tongue in cheek, but thank goodness for React because it actually ended up focusing the way that you do front end development as opposed to all the different ways you could, do something in the front end, right? React kind of focused into one way, sort of. I mean, I know they went in different directions between class and functional and server rendered stuff, forgetting about that certainly, but overall, they've simplified the way that we're expecting things. And that's the kind of thing that I think the original poster is talking about, is they're trying to simplify components now. They're trying to make it say, okay, look, there's only one of all these things. If you want to make it look a little different, that's okay, but functionally, it should be the same thing. But I think this comment from Dmitri here is really just trying to sell that design systems are hard, which they are, and it's a people problem. But what I think, again, Michael's talking about more the original poster, he's talking about there's too many of them. And it continues to be a people problem, I think, is the core of all this stuff. Let's go see some more comments here. I don't disagree, but should point out that the design system often includes fonts, typography. That's just stylistic expressions that everyone agrees on for a particular brand. Okay. Hello, internet stranger. So this is a quote that this person David talked about, and he's going to have a quote that says, "Your business software problems are rarely unique. Your solutions may well be. It's usually cheaper to adapt a business to software than to force your software into their business." Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're not doing anything unique, most likely. Yeah, I think this person is saying the same thing. I'm sure. Yeah, I think that's basically it. There's more comments on the bottom, but I'm going to stop right there. I think many of the folks here are agreeing, generally speaking. And again, that one the Dmitri that was there, I don't think was necessarily hitting the point properly. Because yes, it's a people problem. It's a people problem that we have all these different systems, and uh, I think it's also taken a lot of time for us to figure out what a button is. It has been decades of us having an HTML button, and even before that, physical buttons like the ones that are on my keypads here. There's actually a couple of books about the history of buttons that are out there that I would love to actually have an opportunity to read to get us a little bit of a insight into the psychology behind it, certainly. But ultimately, there's just a lot of stuff out there, and ultimately becoming a people problem, where Hick's Law comes in and says, "I don't know what to choose. I'm going to make another one." Right? It's almost like that XKCD comic where there's like 14 competing standards. I'm going to add a new one to unify them all, and now there's 15 competing standards. That's basically what we're seeing here. Again, right? This is like there's 14 competing design systems. I'm going to add the one design system to rule them all. Ta-da! There are now 15 design systems, and this has just gone ad infinitum. Right? There's so many design systems. We've seen that at component.gallery and other design system repository sites that basically show how many of these things there are. Last time I checked, there were like 122 instances of a button found at component.galleries. All right, so, and I'm sure there's more by now. So why, right? Well, it's again a person thinking that they are restricted by the 121 other ones that are out there, right? So they have to make their own. And I think the restriction is really our bias, right? This goes back to my talk back in October at Converge. It's really the bias that we have internally about the way that we believe things should be built or be used or otherwise be configured. And if we were to break out those biases, I think we would have a lot less systems to maintain, a lot more standardization. But I understand designers believe that that's missing the creativity, right? That's the limiting of the creativity that's happening. And I think it's really not. I think the creativity that's being limited is the ability to use this stuff. But you know what? Let me know what you think, right? That's what you want to do, right? You're going to go ahead and have an opinion about this. Obviously, you can comment on the LinkedIn post if you could find it. I don't think I'll put it in the comments like you because I don't want to draw more attention than it needs. But ultimately, let me know what you think. But thank you. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for watching. Before you go, help out the show by smashing the like and subscribe button to get notified the next time that we go live. And feel free to continue the conversation on our official Design Systems House Discord by visiting discord.ds.house. Play nice in those comments, and I'll see you on the internet. Bye.